Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
How are you doing? What a great time to be in America and in New York City today. I mean, hugely historic day, and you're here performing tomorrow. What's it like for you? Because I know like Brexit just happened in the UK, so like the political, it's tumultuous at the moment. So what's it like being here at this time?
It's interesting. I mean, we've just finished the UK tour, so we've obviously been watching all the things on the TV with what's happening. I mean, we're not really a political band, so we don't want to get too stuck into what's going on, but it's probably obvious which way we'd lean, I think.
Yeah.
And, we're just waiting to see what happens, like the rest of you. Yeah. And like you say, we had Brexit, so we're sort of prepared for a surprise. Yeah, but we think, anything could happen. That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, we absolutely, Brexit, we went to sleep thinking, oh, well, it's a done deal.
So did
we'll
I.
be fine we're all the way. And waking up in the morning just being like, what's
The
going
shock
on?
of it.
Oh, yeah, man, it's insane. And
I will
it's
say
just
the
a big
lesson-
mess now.
Yeah.
No plan, it's just crazy.
They all just jump ship. A lesson I learned from that happening was like, it was a real lesson of like everyone's vote matters. Go out and vote because you can't just predict what's going to happen just because you have a certain opinion and all your friends
Exactly,
do.
yeah. I mean, that's one thing I would say today is go out and vote.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Go out and vote. Go out to all the
Although, I learned something about the college electorate.
Yeah.
And only 23 states have to go by the popular vote, and the rest of the states can be overruled by the college electorate.
I think my dad actually, we're going into
like that.
the
So
this
is
now.
that
We'll
democracy?
stick to the music, but there's all the other rules of like how a certain amount of representatives in certain states can overrule. Yeah,
It's more complicated than I think.
it's not cut and dry like Brexit was.
Crazy.
I know you've toured here before, so you're currently on their tour for The Devil, the Heart, and the Fight,
That's
the
the
third
one.
album.
Yeah.
How many times have you been in the States before?
I think we've kind of lost count. But
Yeah, I mean-
definitely about 7. We've been with Flogging Molly, and we've been with Dropkick Murphys, and the last tour we did was with Frank Turner and the Sleeping Souls. But actually we were here in March for the Flogging Molly's Salty Dog Cruise around the Bahamas, which was insane.
Not too shabby. The Bahamas, you say. Tough life you're living.
Yeah, it was great. And then we did a few gigs up the East Coast. So we were here in March and had a great sold-out show in Brooklyn. Yeah, it was good.
So it's really impressive then, like that you've had your own headline tours from UK in the US. You've had them. Why do you think it's so hard for bands from abroad to break into the US and have like their own?
It's so big and it's expensive to come here, but we love it. So
We got lucky when we first came. I think 2012 we first came to the US, and we went to South by Southwest, which a lot of bands do, a lot of English bands do. And we really worked hard that year, and we didn't just do the scheduled showcases. We did everything we could. We were playing in the street. We were playing in bars.
You have been awarded hardest working band, though, so we'd only expect that from you.
We're easing up now a bit, but we did more festivals, I think, 2012 than any other band in the UK that year. So I think that's why we got awarded that. But we got lucky, and we opened up a few doors for us. Doing South by Southwest, and a couple of people of influence sort of saw us, and I think that's what allowed us to keep coming to the US. And and it's great for us. We love coming here so much. It's amazing.
Well, the US love having you.
Yeah.
On that note, I always find that really interesting for like anyone in the creative field, whether like you're a musician or an artist or an actor. They have like a handful of people that they know if they hadn't met that person, like X, Y, and Z doors wouldn't have opened. So is there anyone that's really been like in the industry that's really kind of helped you out that way?
There is a guy, and we love him dearly. He's called John Halprin. He lives in Long Beach, and he just had us over actually in September. We were here like a couple of months ago for a festival there where he had all his favourite bands. It's like the Specials. Who else played?
Squeeze.
A
lot of English bands. But the thing is, he saw us in South by Southwest in this little open mic gig we did. He came in, he was just having a drink, and we played. He then rang up Side One Dummy Records, a label that he knew. He knew the guy that ran it, recommended us to them. They got us in. We did a little audition for them in their car park in LA. Then they got invited on the Warped tour because of that. So I think just because of that one little thing, it did, and then that leads to other things, and then,
I love that.
Happened, like within a month, we had a record deal in America, and we were going on the Vans Warped Tour, and it was just crazy because it just all happened so much faster than everyone's just like, yeah, we can do that, yeah, fine. Whereas in the UK, it's like,
Especially for us as well, because we started off as like, sort of like a pub band. We were doing like folk sessions and stuff, and just playing at friends' parties. And then we sort of stepped up to. Lorna always wanted to get into festivals for free. So
that's Lorna's line.
That's the only reason I'm in this band.
It's quoted everywhere. It's like, I wasn't even in the band, and then I was like, I thought I might be able to sing, and I just wanted to go to the festivals, and now you're just the Gwen Stefani of No Doubt. You're the lead singer in the band. So tell me really quickly about your stream of consciousness at that time when you were like, okay, I'm gonna be in this band.
Yeah, I had. Give it a try. I mean, I came out singing. You know, that was. It's always been there, and my parents have got little recordings of me singing about where my shoes are or something like that. So it's always been there, but it's not. It was never something that I took seriously, and these guys were just playing at parties, and I thought I can probably add a little element of fun to that and get people up and dancing and stuff. So. Yeah, and I like a party, and I like festivals, and I was like, right, if we just ramp this up, we can get
maybe make it more career.
Yeah. So we just started breaking into festivals and climbing the walls and taking our instruments and playing everywhere, and then it just kind of caught on, and and then we've been on cruises in the Bahamas. It's insane. There was no thought for me of any of that. Yeah. It was just literally to have.
You just wanted free festivals. I mean, the cruise is just a plus. Like, you weren't even asking for that.
Got paid. It was insane.
But we've been lucky enough to do festivals now all across the world. So we did Coachella. We've done Fuji Rock in Japan and stuff. So
Japan.
It's been an incredible ride. Yeah. Japan's. We try and get there once a year for a little. It's amazing. We love it.
Funny. So Dan, at that time then, you were already in a pre-existing band. Was it still Skinny Lister before Lorna joined?
Yeah, it sort of was. And I'd started it as like a very small project, just putting down some songs that I'd written. And it just sort of organically grew from that. And one of the best things was it was just friends, pulling a group of friends in rather than advertising for musicians. It was just mates. And I think that's one of the reasons why we sort of remained quite a strong unit, is that first and foremost, I think we're a bunch of friends just having a good time.
Well, Max is my brother, so I got my in through that, really.
You were always watching and observing.
Yeah, well, I joined pretty quickly. It wasn't, it was just happening in bedrooms and at houses. And we were also doing like an Appalachian folk band sort of thing, me and Max and his ex-girlfriend, and my mum and dad used to join and stuff. Yeah. And that was totally for fun as well. We make little videos outside log cabins and pretend really badly to be American.
Well, the Americans will be the judge of that. Who knows? Maybe
it was really bad, I promise.
I think we do a better job of being English, actually. Yeah.
And so, you're the only girl in the band then, Lorna?
Yes, yeah.
So you're always on tour, again, like hardest working band. What have you learned about men from being surrounded by men all the time, whether you're in tour buses, in hotels, whatever it is? Is there anything that you're like, before you didn't know? Or what's the struggles about being the only girl?
No, they're just, it's like hanging out with 5 girls. I don't think they're the manliest men.
Manliest?
Manliest.
It was a heavy night last night, by the way.
He's like, I'll take that as a compliment, I think.
You do sort of run the shop a bit, don't you, really?
I have to. Somebody has to. It's just like questions all the time. What time's this? When's that? Oh, God, please. I'm the mum. Which sounds
I think
crap.
It's good having I've been in bands before where there's no female presence, and I think it benefits from having that.
Because I do all the rubbish.
Yeah. And we also have, she's with us actually, Jenny Lee, our sort of tour manager.
Shout out to the tour manager.
Person. But again, having another girl in there just balances it up a bit. Yeah. When you've got all that testosterone kicking around, it's sometimes a bit like...
Bit much.
So it's good. It adds a bit of balance. Yeah.
And then performing-wise, try to sort of, I guess, fill in the colours of what we could expect from a Skinny Lister performance. Because I know that's something I saw an interview you guys did, I think it was 2 years ago, and you were talking about having a unique selling point, and you hadn't quite figured out what's our USP, what's our brand. But for me, from researching and watching, I'm like, clearly it's the kind of escapism that your performances lend to the audience.
Yeah, I guess we always kind of say if you come into a Skinny Lister gig, you leave your cool at the door. Nobody's impressed by anybody, being too cool or anything. It's just have a good time. And people do say that they leave feeling like really happy and like they've got a room full of friends. And I grew up in folk clubs. I grew up with people all getting drunk and singing together.
Yeah.
That's what we kind of want to bring to a gig, really. And so, you can expect to sing along. We'll all share a drink out of the flagon, which is like the seventh member. It's just a bit of dancing, bit of high energy, fun.
And it sounds like they were even saying, like last night you were in Boston and there was people crowd surfing onto the stage, a conveyor belt of fans.
It was crazy. It was like, please, come on, let me sing. Just having to move the microphone.
Pretty dangerous, actually. There was, a couple of casualties, I think. But yeah, not to be put off coming to a Skinalista gig. It's not that dangerous. But it was actually our biggest headline gig yesterday in Boston that we've ever done in the US. So it was a great show for us. It was quite
Congratulations.
special. But,
amazing.
It's been a great year, to be honest. We just came off the UK tour, which every single gig was sold out, which is like amazing for us. We're so happy, and we've already announced the next UK tour, and that's still, selling really fast as well. So it's going good. It's going good.
And we've got the new record.
The record.
Devil, the Heart, and the Fight.
Yeah.
So this is the third album. So talk to me a little bit about the story behind this one and how it's different to the previous two.
I think the first album was very folky. I mean, we still consider ourselves a folk band at the core, but the first one's particularly folky and sort of quite pastoral and rural, where the second one's a bit more London-centric. I think this one's a little bit more global for us. That's how we feel about it. And we've let ourselves a bit off the folk leash on this one and taken some of the songs. That one we just heard, Devil in Me, it's not a typical folk song anymore, but it's still got that in it somewhere. But we've just let ourselves experiment a little bit more with this one.
It's also a very personal album.
It is, yeah. I mean, the songs, we've got a song called Geordie Lad on there, which is about an old guy who used to be in the band, who we don't see so much these days. So it was a sort of an open letter to him. One of the songs on...
For Americans, Geordie is, if you come from Newcastle in the north of England, you get called a Geordie.
They have Geordie Shore, like Jersey Shore.
You'd know that.
So that's what it is, right? Geordie Shore
yeah.
is like the TV version of what Jersey Shore was.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm like, that kind of highlights
and that's he used to sing a song called Geordie Hinny, which is a folk song, I guess, from Newcastle. So it's kind of a twist on that. And
we've got what else is on there? Tragedy in A Minor. Our drummer was in a relationship. Well, he was with a fiance that were due to get married in a matter of weeks, and she pulled the plug on the whole thing. And Tragedy in A Minor is all about that. It was a little bit raw when I first wrote that one, but we.
So you wrote it for him. You're like,
I
have a song for you. I don't know if you're ready. I'm dedicating it just for you.
He loves the song, and it's a happy ending. He's actually getting married to somebody else.
Ah, lovely. So it was therapeutic to help him process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then there's a song on there called Charlie, which is about a guy, a friend of mine from Bridlington in Yorkshire, where I'm from, who's come over to the US and found success as an actor recently. He's in Stranger Things.
Jonathan
Plays
Byers.
one of the
Oh my
But
goodness.
that's all happened since we wrote the song.
Yeah, I wrote that song about 18 months ago, but that's on there. So the album's sort of all, it's about things, people very close to us, I think, and it's quite intimate and personal in that respect.
There's also a little song on there about you not being able to handle your drink, isn't there?
There is,
yeah. What's that one?
Hamburg drunk. We always, in Europe,
yes.
we finish our tours in Hamburg, and it's always a messy night, so we...
Not all our tours. We won't be finishing
our
this
Europeans.
one in.
No, we won't. No, this one will be New Orleans drunk, I think.
So what is Hamburg drunk? 'Cause I also heard in an interview that it's become just like a saying for you.
Oh, my mum says
it now. Hamburg drunk last night?
Yeah,
like,
that's what my mum says.
What happened in Hamburg? Like,
oh God,
what was it that led to that phrase?
He just clutches a bottle of God knows what and doesn't let anyone else near it. And you have this weird habit of cleaning your teeth before going on stage. So he had his toothbrush in his pocket, and he started like cleaning his teeth with beer in this pub. And then he started trying to do somersaults, and a prostitute hit him. It was all quite dark, really, but got a song out of it, and it's fine.
Sounds strange when you describe that.
Virtues of adversity. That's what a real talented person does.
We like to do
talent,
that.
Dan.
On the last album, there's a song called, the last album, Down on Deptford Broadway, there's a song called Trouble on Oxford Street.
Yeah.
It's about when I did run into some trouble on Oxford Street.
What happened there?
He's a nightmare as a drunk. He's total nightmare, complete liability.
It did involve alcohol again, but I did lose bits of a couple of teeth.
Bits of a couple of teeth.
I had that repaired, but I always like to get something positive out of those sorts of experiences. So I wrote a song, and yeah.
It's basically.
Yeah. So you could be like, well, I'm glad it happened, lads. We wouldn't have had this song if it wasn't for me being a blackguard.
He ruffled a punk's mohawk, and to be fair, they said, "Don't mess with it, or we'll kick you in." And he carried on.
Try me.
And I don't think it was a fight as much as a knockout. It was
Okay, it was a KO.
Anyway,
you came to and you wrote a song, so obviously all your brain cells aren't gone yet. Some were retained. So Devil and Me, that's the video we saw, isn't it?
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the lyrics then behind that song, the story, and then of course I really want to know about the video because it looked very therapeutic.
Do you want to talk about the lyrics since you wrote it? I can't take credit for that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably less personal than some of the songs I've just referenced, but it's a bit more, rather than writing another love song for Lorna to sing, wanted to twist it and make it a little bit darker. So it's become, I think I was trying to write something in a traditional folk style that was about a woman that was poisoning her partners or something, and in a literal sense, an old true story from hundreds of years ago. And it somehow morphed into this thing, which is, it's a bit more generic, but it's like a love song, but looking at sort of the darker side of it rather than, all happy clappy.
It's
when passion goes wrong.
Yeah, it's very passionate.
All goes right. It's that kind of, I interpret it as, when you're sort of getting together with somebody and you can feel yourself really falling in love, but you're like terrified that they're going to hurt you or something. So I think everybody, really, well, I definitely have got that sort of streak in them that's like, just don't mess this up.
You gotta protect yourself. So the video, though, I loved the video because I was like looking at it and I was like, I wish I was doing that because like to get to have a car and then completely just smash it in.
Yeah, well, I have a little bucket list, and I do actually have it on my fridge at home because otherwise, if I don't have something telling me to do it, then I won't do it. So there's a few things on there, but number 1 is to milk a cow. And number 2 was number 2 was to smash a car windscreen window with a sledgehammer. And we were making the video for Geordie Lad, and we do everything ourselves. It's part of the fun of it is putting it all together. And we made like this wall, and we had to borrow a sledgehammer and to put the pins in the floor. Anyway, a bit boring bit behind the scenes. And as we were walking out, we're like, oh, we've got to make another video for Devil and Me, right? And then I just saw this sledgehammer. I was like, guys, I've got it. I've got the perfect thing. So, yeah, it was...
What does that feel like? I also like knock one off the bucket list, but then to get to completely obliterate a car.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a bit reckless and classic. No, it was on its way to the scrapyard anyway. It was pretty noisy when I was driving it up and down the roads illegally.
We're not on live TV or anything.
So honestly,
we can cut that bit out. No, we can't.
It was difficult to stop you actually on a few times because we're filming it. You sort of do a bit at a time, make sure we get the shot right. But she just went off on one for we're like stop. We need to get that shot. And
well, because doing the windscreen I had to learn how to use a sledgehammer, of course, which I nailed. And we're doing the windscreen because it doesn't smash that easy.
I was going to think, how many shots did you need at it?
Bang that one. And then when we were doing the sunroof, it was the first one after the windscreen, and the camera guy came up, and I just did it. It was like pop, and all this bloody glass is going everywhere. The cameraman's panicked about his lens and stuff, and it was really good.
You're there, it's raining glass, and you don't care.
Yeah.
The smashed sunroof looks beautiful in slow motion. It's
It did, and then the reverse of it all.
Yeah,
because
that's
it never really happened.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's all in it.
So in the end, we can say no cars were hurt in the making of this video. You see.
Yeah, it drove off completely fine.
Yeah.
Put it back together. And there's a song Wanted, isn't it? Wasn't that the first release of the album?
Yeah.
And it's like London, don't let me down. New York, don't let me down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad. Like, when have New York and London let you down? What's the context behind those lyrics?
No, they've not really let us down. But I think that's another reflection of us it's because we do travel so much now. I think rather than, as I said, the second album was all about London. It was about Farringdon, Paddington Base. There's all sorts of references throughout it. I think we just wanted to open it up on this album to be beyond London, even though we do talk about London a lot because we spent a lot of years there. So I think it was just trying to open up. There's also Cairo in there. We've not been to Cairo yet, but...
Bucket list.
Fingers crossed it won't let you down. I mean, you're busy making your yearly trip to Japan, so I mean, Cairo's a push,
Yeah.
Save that for next year. So what is for the year to come? 2017, obviously 2016, album release, the tour. Are you going to be writing more? Are you going to be touring more?
We've got, I think we're going to do quite a few more tours. We've got Dropkick Murphys in January and February across Europe, so that's going to be great fun. And then we have a UK tour in April and May, and we're planning to come back to the States in spring as well. And then we'll play a load of festivals.
And all the Irish festivals, I was telling them that to make it in Ireland.
Yes,
Because, so Flogging Molly, Dave King, isn't he's the lead singer of that?
That's right.
Do you have much of an Irish influence then in your music, do you think? Because I heard that you said that in some countries they think it's Irish music.
Yeah.
We do. And I think there is an Irish influence in there. And I think partly some of that might have come from the fact that we spent 5 weeks on the road with Flogging Molly. And I think sometimes these things, whether you want them to or not, they seep into, they influence you. And we love the Pogues. I mean, they're one of our biggest influences, obviously, an Irish sounding band.
Yeah. Very Irish sounding band.
Shane McGowan being Irish.
Fairy Tale in New York. The most iconic song, I think, of the whole country after the anthem.
Right, yeah. So we love all that, and we can't help that. See, even though we try to be sort of an English version, I suppose, of the Pogues, we can't help have the, Irish influence.
Celtic, aren't they?
Yeah.
They come from a Celtic background, so it's going to sound similar. And it's
But you make it your own.
Yeah, but it is true. When we've done gigs with Dropkick Murphys, for instance, we'll speak to people afterwards, and they really did expect that we'd be Irish.
One guy was really annoyed with you.
He was very upset that I was English.
What is this accent? I
really had trouble on Oxford Street again.
And I think in America that confusion happens a bit more.
Yeah.
But we like to think it does connect with people, or it certainly connects with the people we play in front of, because I think there's something in that Celtic flavour that appeals to somewhere deep in their soul, I think, and because of the history of the place and of the Irish coming to America and stuff.
Yeah.
And all that. So whatever it is, it works.
Yeah.
I think so yeah.
And then collaboration-wise, like speaking of like influences, and so if you were to pick like what do you listen to now on your iPhones, like mainstream? Do you listen to any of these kind of like EDM, hip hop? Would you ever figure out a way to kind of like, I guess?
I love Beyonce and
like Beyonce,
and people like that. So
why are you saying it like it's bad? I mean,
Beyonce, if you want to collaborate with Skinny Lister.
No, she's not saying it like it's bad, but people are usually surprised that because we come across quite a folky band, that we do have these, these things.
You're not going to listen to your own music all day, so.
Of course not, no.
I think he might.
It's research.
Yeah, production. I'm just listening to the production.
Yeah.
But we listen to all sorts of stuff in the van, don't we? And it's,
Well, there's 6 people in the band, so there's a massive variety of stuff. Tom, who's the drummer in the band, particular music fan, and he will sort out anything, and he's got like a playlist of God knows how many songs on this playlist. So there's always something different to listen to. And there's so much great new music out there. It's incredible. It's just, oh my God. When you start looking at how many bands exist, I feel so blessed that we get to travel around and have good fun.
US headline tour.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good fun.
Well, I think the audience might have some questions.
Hi guys, thanks for being here.
Hi.
Congrats on the album. It's awesome.
Thank you very much.
This is kind of a follow-up question. If you could cover any sort of like top 40 hit right now that might be outside of your genre, what would it be?
God, what?
You phrased it way better than me. I'm like, that's the way to put it.
Just say what's in the top 40.
There's a lot of like the Chainsmokers, and there's a lot of like Drake. His new album has like been in top 20 for
I've seen that about, but I've not heard any of it.
EDM, it's like very kind of EDM, hip hop heavy.
I like Charlie XCX.
She's not in the top 40, but she did just release a song after the after party. So maybe
right, okay, I'd cover that.
That would suit as well the band, because the party never ends.
She's got a good attitude. I think Lorna would embrace that.
I love. She's got some great beats on there. There's things that sound like The Fall, who I love, and they've got some some good beats. So I could go with that.
So we'll go in answer to your question.
So she will be in top 40 very soon once her album drops. Anyone else?
Hey, thank you for being here. What was the process like in designing the cover of your new album?
Oh my God, it was painful. Seriously painful.
As was the title, finding the title. It was actually a good friend of ours has become a bit of a designer lately. Actually, he's been doing it for quite a while now.
He's been in New York. It's the only time, actually, that we've come and he's not here, so we feel a bit sad and missing him.
But he's an old friend from the UK, sorry, and he does this work. So we wanted to keep it simple.
Well, we spent months arguing first. I don't want to say it's painful because of what he did, but he actually just had to come in and save the day because we were going to split up as a band over the cover.
But I think what we wanted to capture in there and what we did is we wanted to keep it very simple and clean because it's a bit of a more produced sound, I think, this album than the last ones. But also we've got, the shots of us in there, so the live thing is in there because that's quite important to us as well. So, yeah.
My nose in there, which is... I'm not that pleased about the photo that was used, actually. But
did you not get to select it?
Look at the nose.
It's beautiful. It's a button nose.
Could have coloured it in or made it a bit smaller. But.
Anyway, we thank Matt Lalande was the guy that put it together. So, yeah.
The title. Where did the title come from?
That was that took a while because there's 6 of us and everyone's got a strong opinion. It does take us a while.
But the last 2 albums, the title just came and it's like, we all agreed. Yeah. But this one again was like, oh my goodness, we've been through. This is probably the 668th suggestion, and it finally brought in. But it kind of summarizes the album, really. It's got the devil, those tough times in life, the heart. If you love doing it, you carry on doing it, and you fight for what what you want to achieve. So it's that kind of being in a band. Although it all sounds very glamorous, and it is, it's also extremely hard work. And for me, I think the title really sums up that sort of determination and doing it for the love of it, really.
I think that. So there's also a little bit of an echo of something like the Rum Sodomy and the Lash by the Pogues, or something like that. That sort of 3 words together, which I always quite like the feel of that. So yeah. Yeah.
And just to juxtapose heart and fight together, I think is just foolproof. Because it's like it's in you as a creative person, and you're going to keep going and keep succeeding.
Exactly.
But it takes like many devils to be fighting off.
Yes.
There you go. You
Some of
better
which
than us.
end you up in an accident on Oxford Street. Any other questions?
Hey guys, so I was just wondering, with this album, like, what was the hardest one that you guys ever had to write?
Sorry, the hardest track.
Yeah, like to write, like in the new album.
What, the track on the album?
Yeah.
Probably the hardest one to put together was "Devil in Me," the one you heard. If we're talking about putting those together, that was we went into the studio with that song, the basic bones of it, but we really didn't know what we were going to do with it, and it was one of those where we can't afford loads of studio time, the luxury of these bands that go in and spend weeks on it. So, but we did put that one together in the studio as so I'd say that was the.
Yeah, it's most experimental, and we did struggle with it before, but yeah.
So, but we got there, and it turns out that it's now one of our favourite ones. So sometimes you go through that process, can be a bit tricky, but sometimes you're finding something that you're then really happy with, and I think that's one of those
extra blood,
songs.
sweat, and tears in it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
There was more of a fight. Yeah. Well, guys, I think that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And best of luck with the rest of your US tour.
Cheers.
And all the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.